frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Happy Sunday, everyone. Jo here of SportsGrid. It's time for Pocket with Jo over here on the SportsGrid TV on X as well as YouTube. I hope everyone's Sunday morning is starting off great. We have Watch in the next 30 minutes. Here as the Washington Capitals do take on the New York Islanders. We're going to break all of that down as well as all of the games out here on deck today. We'll do the recap at the end and we'll get to questions like Lisa's question here on the Women's National Championship today. So I am looking at South Carolina plus the points, Lisa. If you want more of a breakdown on that, stay tuned for my Cup of Joe. But I do think South Carolina has the chance of getting that revenge. They're going to have to shut down Paige and UConn, and that's going to be a hard one because she is so strong out there, but the depth comes from South Carolina, and I do think they can get those playmakers off the bench to be impactful in this game. So South Carolina and the over for me in that one. Stay tuned for the rest of the bets in that as we jump in to everything happening out there on the ice. So the Washington Capitals taking on the New York Islanders. This is all about Ovechkin. Does Ovechkin want to score on an empty netter? We know that is a no. So we got to look at him, how he's going to score. The books have actually taken that empty netter off the slate. And I don't know why. Well, we do know why. In the press release, he just said he didn't want the empty netter. But when push comes to shove, if Ovi's sitting there in that last game of the season versus the Pittsburgh Penguins, you know the empty netter could come into play. I do think it probably gets scored tonight on Sorokin, one of the few goaltenders he's never scored on. So we're looking at Islanders team coming in at plus 122. We know the struggles of this team. Minus 146 here for the Washington Capitals and a total of 6.5. The 6.5 with the juice to the under at minus 132. If you want to go over, it's plus 108. And you've got to think in this matchup, will the Islanders score enough to help us with that over? If you're liking an over, I'd break it down into the Washington Capitals team total. Sorokin, he hasn't been getting the support in front of him. We know the Washington Capitals have every ability to get those goals on the board. Past 5 starts for Sorokin, he's gone 1-4 with an .878 save percentage. So things have not been pretty. But like I said, that defense isn't giving him any support. They have the inability to stop those high danger chances by their opponents as well. And we look at where Ovi will get open on that ice. That high danger shot from the side of the goaltender is just absolutely outstanding, how he's able to fire that into the net. So look for Ovi to come out nice and strong in this. We got to play around with his goal and how we can bet it. Let's first look at these goaltenders and what they're going to do. I told you about Sorokin. I told you Ovi has never scored on Sorokin, but limited games, 7-8 games out there versus Sorokin. So I do think in this one, we're going to see the best out of Ovi. It's just a matter if he really wants to break this record out there on the road. I think he wants the record broken and fully surpass it on the season and hit some new highs as we go into the end of the regular season, just surpassing it by 1. Yes, that is huge. It's history, but how many can Ovi surpass it by is the biggest question mark now, because you look at that schedule and he has every ability to get a goal per game going into the playoffs. So Charlie Lindgren expected in goal here for the Washington Capitals. 2 games versus the Isles and very strong numbers versus the Isles. A .921 a save percentage and a 2.70 goals against average. On the season, he's rolling in with a 2.67 goals against average. So we have seen nice numbers for Charlie Lindgren. The Capitals have recalled Hunter Shepard into the lineup, another goaltender here, but we are going to see Lindgren get more work. I think Hunter Shepard will be used in relief today if they want to pull Lindgren out of this game, just because the Caps are up, in a 4-1 style game, just to get Hunter Shepard some time under his belt. So don't look at Lindgren here for any say shots on goal props. And you guys, I keep looking for those block shots. This is the time of year we want to get into that block shot market. Last year, they opened it up right around this time, right before playoffs. I'm still not seeing it this year. And I'm skeptical if they're going to open it at all. The block shots on goal market is one of my favorite. I love those defensive props. Now, I wasn't able to get on FanDuel, but we were able to get it on other books. So going into the playoffs, as soon as those playoffs kick off, we're going to start talking more about the block shots on goal prop market. You guys let me know if you're able to find them on your books, because I'm able to get them on secondary books. But you guys, if you're not able to get them, we won't talk about them because it's useless for me to tell you a bet that you just can't find out there to bet. So looking at the defense here, the Caps are a team that can get those block shots on goal. Their defense has been so strong in front of their goaltending, and their PK coming in at 81.3%. So this team has been rolling hot. It's hard to think that they take the loss here to the Isles. They're sitting first in the Metro, and I know they're nice and comfortable first in the Metro. They're the Canes on deck at home on Thursday, then the Columbus Blue Jackets for 2 games. One at home, one in Columbus, and then the Isles and the Penguins to end the season. So you look at Ovi there. Can he score on the Canes? Absolutely. Depending on goaltending, the Canes have been inconsistent out there on the road. Washington will be at home. He has every ability to. He has every ability to score on Elvis or Tarasov of the Columbus Blue Jackets and versus the Isles again and the Pittsburgh Penguins. So I do think Ovi will hit new historic marks with probably a goal in the next 5 games. So looking forward to seeing Ovi do that. So he has 895. And it's legendary. Let's just put it at that. For him to score a goal tonight, it's coming in at -120. It's not where I want to get in the market. Now, if we think he's going to score 2 goals because he's not only going to surpass it today, he's going to surpass it by 2. That's coming in at +500. We can also bet, and it sucks because they took off the Washington Capitals' first goal scorer to be Ovi that we got at +420 in the last game. Now they're giving us first period, second period, and the way that he'll break it in the first period or second period. We could look at him first period, Ovi, even strength goal. That's coming in at +600. I like it. They're going to be hungry for Ovi to get this in the first period, I do think. I think the first period power play goal at +1,500, definitely worth the money as well. The third period goal, I would stay off of. It's only +800 for the third period goal. If we're rolling into the third period and Ovi still hasn't scored, that's when I'd look at that third period goal out of Ovi. Will we have less value? I'm guessing the books are going to decrease the value on this third period goal instead of increasing it like we normally see, because his chances of getting that goal in the third, they're going to be so hungry to get Ovi that goal. I don't think his goal in the third would come on an empty netter, though. So when you're betting it, look for the power play, look for the even strength goal instead of the empty netter, because I don't think it's going to come that way. You can also look at the second, third period. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll into this one. I'm going to take the first period even strength for a little bit of money and the first period power play for a little bit of money for him to break the record on. So that's +600 and +1,500 for those 2 bets. Then if we don't hit it in the first, I'm going to then roll it into the second and then roll it into the third. We will lose some value there, but I do think it is he should be able to get it on either even strength or on that power play. So it's going to be really interesting. I do think it pays off in the first for sure. I'm glad you had the Devils yesterday getting that win for you for sure. And then where else am I going to go with this one? If we're looking at a side, we're not looking to bet Ovi. I'm going to take the Isles team total, you guys. The Isles team total coming in at 2.5. To the under, it's coming in at +116. Now, we're going to have to see the Capitals defense really step up. They need to slow down Anders Lee. Anders Lee has been strong at getting those goals versus the Capitals as a home underdog. So as long as they can shut down Anders Lee and not allow him to do much, but the Isles team isn't doing much out there on the ice. Let's move on to the Dallas Stars taking on the Minnesota Wild. We're going to keep an eye on the Capitals and the Islanders as a puck will drop in the next 20 minutes there. So get your bets in on Ovi in the first period, even strength, and on the power play to break the record. And then we'll roll it into the second and third if it doesn't happen in the first period. The Dallas Stars taking on the Minnesota Wild. Jake Ottinger expected here versus Gustafsson. We did see Casey DeSmith in net, not Ottinger yesterday for the Dallas Stars. Now the Stars are off that loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins, in which Sidney Crosby didn't only just get us a goal at +200, he got a freaking hattie in that game, scoring all 3 goals needed to hit goal number 30 on the season. Now there's a lot of things that we need to break down for Sid, where he's highlights that he's getting in his career with finishing off this season, how strong he's actually been as a player. And I think the motivation of what Ovi did on Friday night really sparked something in Sidney Crosby. So I'm expecting Sid the Kid to come out nice and strong in his matchup today, but we will get to that when we look at the Pittsburgh Penguins. First, let's talk about the Dallas Stars versus the Minnesota Wild. So Dallas off that loss to the Penguins last night. We're seeing a Minnesota Wild team that are fighting so hard to hold on to that last wild card spot. Vegas did them a favor last night, even though it went to overtime. Calgary only able to put up 1 point as the Vegas Golden Knights scored with like 30 seconds left in OT on Wolfie. So unfortunate for the Calgary Flames, and I just had major deja vu, you guys. We have done this show, it feels like, before, talking the playoffs, talking the situation, but that was weird. That was crazy. I don't know. Do you guys believe in deja vu, and what do you actually think it is? Have we lived this before? If we have, man, I wish I could remember the winning bets in all of these games. But I squirrel so much. But looking at the Minnesota Wild here, they are trying so hard to hold on to this wild card spot. They're fifth in the Central with 89 points in 77 games. So they're 4 points on Calgary, but have played an extra game. So Calgary has an extra game in hand, 4 points behind. The Wild need these wins, but this team is completely struggling right now. Like I said, they've lost their last 4. So I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get back here on track versus the Dallas Stars team that is coming off a loss. Dallas off a loss has been dangerous. Second night of a back-to-back. And they've dominated the Minnesota Wild. They've gone 8-1-1 in the last 10 versus the Wild. They've also won their last 10 as a favorite off of a loss. So this is a team that knows absolutely how to bounce back in these situations. When we look at Jake Ottinger, his last meeting versus the Wild, he was able to get that shutout win, as we did see the Dallas Stars win at home on March, I believe it was 25th, 3-0. So Ottinger stood on his head. He stopped all of those shots. He had a .922 save percentage versus the Wild over 11 games. He has been hot. So I do think Dallas is the right side. Second night of a back-to-back, but first game home here for the Minnesota Wild off of 3 on the road. They were able to pick up 2 overtime points in those 3 games on the road. Even though they took the losses, they were in overtime, so they picked up 2 points. They had the Sharks on Wednesday, the Flames on Friday. That's going to be a pivotal game there. Both of those teams will be fighting to win that one. Vancouver and then the Ducks. So the Dallas Stars sitting second in the Central. They have 104 points. 104 points is crazy. In 76 games, they are 4 points and a game in hand behind the Jets. So they are looking to move into that first spot in the Central, but they're going to need a lot of things to go right. They need the Jets to take another loss like they did versus Utah, for them to pick up the win in their next couple to even tie it up. So we're going to see that battle for the first place in the Central, but I do think the Jets will end up closing it out nice and strong. Look for the Dallas Stars, though, in the first period here to come out strong. I'm going to take the Dallas Stars first period puck line that's laying a half a goal at plus 158. I would rather do that. The lines are so highly juiced here for the Dallas Stars at minus 154 on the money line and plus 128. You guys know I love a home underdog, but I can't get behind the Minnesota Wild. I'll fade their team total as well. Under 2.5 goals for the Wild coming in at minus 108. And then the Dallas Stars first period puck line, like I said, this is where my money is going to go. They've won their last 4 first periods versus the Minnesota Wild. I think awful loss last night. It's a perfect situation for us to get up nice and strong in this one for Dallas to just start that game off hot. And let's go, Ovi. It's going to be incredible to see what Ovi has today under his belt. Now, let's look at the Columbus Blue Jackets versus the Ottawa Senators. The puck will drop at 5 p.m. Eastern. You guys remember I am live on the grid from 3 to 7 Eastern today, so make sure you come over and join me. With Scott Wetzel, will be live betting all of these games, so you can get in on what our live bets are. And I hope you guys tailed that parlay. I told you about my same game parlay that I was giving out on the grid yesterday. I gave it out here to you guys. It was Vancouver, the Canucks on the money line, Brock Besser for a point, Troy Terry for a point, Quinn Hughes for a point, and Mike Tavish for a point. It came in at plus 996 and change. We had 3 of the legs done by the end of the first period as Vancouver just dominated that first period. So I really hope you guys were able to get it. The 4th leg cashed in the second, and then Vancouver closed it out with the win. So I really hope some of you played it. Let me know if you did. I will have another same game parlay every single day that I'm on In-Game Live. We do those same game parlays. They have been hitting, you guys. So I'll make sure I give you that at the end of the show as well. But the Columbus Blue Jackets versus the Ottawa Senators. Tarasov versus Allmark is your expected goaltending. Now, Columbus is the dog on the road at plus 128. This team has had their struggles, and they've been struggling out there on the road to convert those goals as well. Just haven't been getting the high danger shots that they need. And it's going to be a hard matchup here. Both of these teams, for their playoff hopes, need this win today. Now, when I look at Columbus, I think they're too far out of the playoff picture. I don't see them making it. Ottawa, though, sitting in that first wild card spot, getting the win over Florida yesterday. They're minus 154 favorite to get the win today. We got a total of 5.5 minus 134 to the over 5.5. Looking at this one, I do think the Ottawa Senators, with their power play, are going to be able to come out nice and strong versus Columbus if Columbus takes penalties, because the power play here for the Sens, it's coming in at 23.4%. The kill is weak, and on a second night of a back-to-back, the kill is going to be even weaker for Columbus. That's 75.6. Now, they got shut out versus the Toronto Maple Leafs yesterday. It wasn't pretty. 5-0 shutout loss. You guys know I was riding high on Columbus, expecting more out of them. I had a couple goal scorers and things like that, but they weren't able to get anything done. They're 3-6-1 now in their last 10 games. They're fifth in the Metro with 77 points in 75 games, 6 points behind Montreal for the last wild card spot in the East. They're just too far out, you guys. We look at the Ottawa Senators. They're fourth in the Atlantic, 88 points in 76 games. They're 5 points ahead of Montreal, 4 points behind Florida for that third spot in the Atlantic. So that is kind of crazy. With Florida on this losing streak right now, could we see the Ottawa Senators move into that third spot in the Atlantic instead of this wild card spot? It's going to be very interesting to see how they do over their next handful of games. So they beat Florida last night, 3-0. The second night of back-to-back, they're at Columbus on Tuesday. So these teams flip locations versus each other again on Tuesday. The last time they matched up was just on March 29th. We did see the Ottawa Senators win 3-2. Brady Tkachuk still listed day-to-day for the Senators. I think the Senators win this and cover the puck line, though, you guys. I told you that money line is too juiced. We can get the puck line here for the Ottawa Senators, minus 1.5 at plus 164. You guys are actually getting better odds than I got earlier in the day on FanDuel. I was getting minus 1.5 at plus 154. It's now plus 144. It's gone up 20 cents. You're getting better value here as money comes in on Columbus. And I like Columbus. If this game was in Columbus, I would say Columbus has more of a fighting chance here, but they're 1-4 in their last 5 road games with Tarasov in net. I just don't trust him against the Ottawa Senators, whose offense has been quieter, but I still do think they have the better offense between the two, especially with Columbus on the road. Columbus at home, no. Columbus at home can find the back of the net. They like that lamp, but I do think Ottawa gets a win here. They're 0-9 on the puck line, though, in their last 9 versus the Central, so definitely something to keep in mind. This could be a live betting opportunity for you, though, if the Columbus Blue Jackets go up first, then coming back on the Senators for that live money line bet. I just don't trust Columbus to get the win here. I do think first period, though, starts off hot. I'm going to take the first period, both teams to score. Both teams off the back-to-back situation, second night of back-to-back. I expect them to come out hot in that first period. They know they need to go up and then try to lock down. So both teams to score in the first period at plus 146. Now, we got Jake Sanderson. We had some great props yesterday, you guys. Let me know what you cashed on. Jake Sanderson, we had talked about him, his ability to score, how hot he's been. He came out and got the first goal for the Ottawa Senators versus Florida yesterday, opening up that scoring. He can open up the scoring again today. I have all the faith in Sanderson to get back on the board. He scored in the last 4 home games here for the Ottawa Senators. Look for Sanderson to be strong, but also Drake Batherson. Batherson has 22 goals and 38 assists. So if you want to not just take Sanderson for another goal, because we know those hot streaks of those goals have to come to an end at some point, but Tarasov is weak. You could look at just Sanderson and Batherson for the point parlayed together, and I think that's a great way to go. Now, Ottawa's been trending to that under because they've really been limiting their opponent's ability to get those high danger shots, limiting the opponent's goals. So I could see this game staying under the total, but I do think you're better off looking at Columbus's team total to the under, other than taking the full game, because I don't know how many goals Ottawa should get on Tarasov here. I don't trust Tarasov to come out and really be able to limit the Ottawa Senators, especially with how much they are fighting for. You are so welcome, Mo. Let's make some freaking money. That is for sure, you guys. Irish King, good morning to you. Okay, we're going to jump into the Florida Panthers versus the Detroit Red Wings. Only 8 games on the slate today. Feels so much nicer than having those 12, right? So the Florida Panthers versus the Detroit Red Wings. We know Florida off the loss to the Ottawa Senators. Barkov still listed out of this lineup. Matthew Tkachuk still out of the lineup. And I do think this is a huge hindrance to this team and their ability to score without both of those players on the ice. They sure missed their captain in Barkov yesterday. Now, Vanacek is expected to get the start in net for the Florida Panthers. And looking here at the Detroit Red Wings, it is expected that Cam Talbot will get the start. Now, Cam Talbot has played 15 games versus Florida. Nice numbers, a 925 save percentage, 9-5 with a 2.59 goals against average. And then when we look at Vanacek, he's actually got really solid numbers versus the Red Wings, which I was surprised by. A 2.40 goals against average, a 915 save percentage in his last 5 games versus the Red Wings. So I do think because of the inabilities of the Florida Panthers to be able to really light the lamp as of late, everyone thinks there's no way Florida's losing 5 in a row. Well, I'm here to say, yeah, I think Florida loses 5 in a row. Just like we went with, we faded Colorado against a hot St. Louis Blues team. And that came into play yesterday. When everyone is saying it's not going to happen, that's when it happens, you guys. I think Florida loses 5 in a row today. They got shut out by the Senators yesterday. And then we're seeing Detroit off the win versus the Carolina Hurricanes on Friday, 5-3. They started off that first period so hot. I'll take a chance on the Red Wings winning this in a 3-2 style game. They're coming in at -105 on that money line. We're starting to lose the plus money on that. It was plus 106 earlier in the morning. So if you like the Red Wings like I do, jump on them now before you're going to have to lay -110 on them. All the odds are against us here. Like all the trends we have seen. The Florida Panthers, they've won 8 of the last 10, the last 6 in Detroit. So they have been so strong playing the Detroit Red Wings. But you look at the Detroit Red Wings, not mathematically eliminated, but so far out of getting that playoff spot. So they're 6th in the Atlantic. They're making a push right now, absolutely, but it's going to be too little too late, in my opinion. So 6th in the Atlantic, 77 points in 75 games. 6 points behind Montreal for that last wild card spot and a game in hand. So 2 points behind the Rangers and a game in hand. So they're sitting right there in the mix, but I do think it's too little too late. 3rd in the Atlantic here for the Florida Panthers. And I know they want to hold on to that 3rd spot. I know how close the Ottawa Senators are at catching them. And they're only 2 points behind Tampa for that 2nd spot. So every single win is so meaningful to get that home ice advantage, getting the 2nd spot in the Atlantic, but I don't think they get the win here. I do think you look at their last 4. This is their last of 4 road games. They have the Leafs on Tuesday. So another really bad spot, finishing up on the road at home versus the first team in the Atlantic on your next game. It's a terrible spot here for them. Then they'll face the Red Wings at home. I expect them to beat the Red Wings when they're at home. And then they face the Sabres and the Rangers and the Lightning in their last game. And I do think we're going to see that cold streak come to an end, start with the Leafs, and then roll right through to that last game with the Lightning, which will decide. And I really do think it's going to come down to that very last game. Who gets the 2nd spot in the Atlantic, if it's Florida or if it's the Tampa Bay Lightning. So it's definitely something to look at. I do think Florida has every ability to get that 2nd spot in the Atlantic, but I think they take the 5th loss today. So if you want to fade them with me, go ahead and fade them with me. I'll be on the Red Wings and I'll be on the under 5.5 in this game. I think 3-2 style one. I think Lucas Raymond has been playing great here for the Red Wings. They've got so many playmakers, but I'm going to be very cautious on player props in this game because I do think it is that lower scoring one. Yeah, let's make some freaking money on this beautiful Sunday. Let me know how the weather is by you, because here in YYC, it's going to be above 20. So yesterday it was like 16. So that was like 60 Fahrenheit. So 20, probably 70, no, maybe 65 Fahrenheit. It's going to be beautiful weather here. And I'm going to be in here all day on In-Game Live. So make sure you join me for that. Kane, power play point. We'll get to Patrick Kane. I don't know. You could look at Patrick Kane for the power play point here. I'm just not sure if I'm wanting to take some points. If you were looking at someone, I could say Kane be able to get it done. Chilly and rainy in St. Louis. I'm sorry to hear that. Overcast for you there. It's good to see where everyone's from as well. It's crazy how far Puckett with Joe has been reaching as of late. So stay nice and warm and dry there in St. Louis today. Good day to sit down and watch these games. Let's move on to the Boston Bruins, who got us that plus money yesterday with the Carolina Hurricanes. You got to be so cautious with these large favorites right now, and that's what we saw. We saw Boston breaking that losing streak yesterday and being able to get the win. Now they take on a red-hot Tage Thompson and the Buffalo Sabres, who are looking to play that spoiler role right now. They're a minus 184 favorite at home, plus 152 for the Boston Bruins, and a total of 6.5. Minus 130 to the under 6.5, plus 106 to the over. If I had to take a full game total, I would look it to go over before I went under. But I do think just breaking down the Buffalo Sabres team total, you can get that over 3.5. That's coming in at plus 106. And I do like it. But I think we're going to see that hot start out of both of these teams. Both teams on their second night of a back-to-back. So we're seeing the Sabres winning their last three. They beat the Lightning in a shootout win last night at home, 3-2. So pretty impressive with what we saw there. Not mathematically eliminated, but sitting seventh in the Atlantic. This team is just too far out for me to ever think they're going to get stuff done. And we are seeing Boston eliminated. We're used to seeing Boston in the playoffs, so hard pill to swallow for Boston fans, especially when they traded away their players. This was the fate of this team. We knew that Boston would have a heck of a time trying to make it to the playoffs, and they are going to finish in the last place in the Atlantic. So they've lost their last 7 road games. This has been where they have had those struggles, and they beat Carolina last night 5-1 in a game that was just not where Carolina cared to be, right? Like you look at that, Carolina has been inconsistent on the road. They were on their second night of back-to-back. It was a perfect storm for the Boston Bruins to pull off that huge dog win. I'm going to look at this one. The last time these teams met, we did see the Buffalo Sabres win in overtime 3-2. I do think this is a higher scoring game than that. I think the Sabres get those 4 goals, so I like the over 3.5 for the Sabres. But I think we get the hot start here out of both of these teams. First period over 1.5 goals at minus 136. If you want to lay the juice, you can go there. I do think both teams to score in the first period. I'll put a half a unit split on both of those bets. That's coming in at plus 156. The last meeting, we saw that first period. So we had a 3-2 overtime win for the Sabres. The first period started off with a 2-1 lead for the Boston Bruins. It was nuts. The second period, third period is where we saw defense come to play. We had 3 goals in the first and finished with 5 goals overall in overtime. So I'm going to look at the first period. Back on January 28th, we also saw the Sabres win in a 7-2 high-scoring game. In that one, it was 1-1 in the first period. So in both the last 2 matchups, we did see both teams score in the first period as they came out hot. Now, looking at Tage Thompson, we mentioned him. He has been so hot as of late. Tagged for the anytime goal coming in at plus 135. Can we get 2 goals out of him? If we can, it's plus 1,000. And I'm willing to take a shot on Tage Thompson for 2+ goals at plus 1,000. Just a little sprinkle, you guys. He's got 6 goals in the last 6 games, 40 goals on the season, and he's scored 4 goals in the last 4 versus Boston. So he's definitely been able to step up versus this team. Now, Alex Tuch, another player you want to look for to come out nice and strong. Between Tage Thompson and Alex Tuch, they have 9 power play goals on the season. They should be able to convert on this power play versus the Bruins today. And when we look at them in the past 7 games, at least one of them has scored in the last 7. So if you want to just play Tage Thompson and Alex Tuch each for a goal, one of them, I do have faith, will score, if not both of them, here versus Korpisalo in net for the Boston Bruins. We know we can't trust Korpisalo. In the last 7 games, like I said, one of them has scored in each of those. And in 3 of the last 7, both have scored. Korpisalo is 10-9-3 on the season with an 898 save percentage. 893 save percentage. So Korpisalo below 900, and I do think he just hasn't had enough time on the ice to get used to the speed of play that the Buffalo Sabres will be throwing at him. So we are seeing Ovi out there warming up on the ice, you guys. It is magical if you don't have this game on. The puck is going to drop any minute here between the Washington Capitals. So make sure you get that game on. But look at Alex Tuch, look at Tage Thompson to be able to net us those goals. One thing to note on the second night of a back-to-back, though, the Buffalo Sabres are 0-5 on the puck line on the second night of a back-to-back. On the other side, Morgan Geekie and Pasta. Pasta has been strong. He got us a Hattie yesterday. I didn't expect Pasta to get a Hattie. We took Morgan Geekie and Pasternak for goal. Morgan Geekie and Pasta for a point parlay together got us plus money. So I definitely look at Morgan Geekie and Pasternak again today for those points parlayed together, because I do think Boston will net at least 2 goals for us. And then I think the rest of the goals come out of the Buffalo Sabres. Yeah, exactly. Christopher Tuch and Tage Thompson for the points tonight parlayed together is a great way to go. Kev, good morning to you. Let's keep the momentum. God, yesterday, there was some really good cashes yesterday. Those first goal scorers, we had them for the anytime goal, but they came out and scored right away. So it took a little bit of relief off, right? When you have that first goal being scored by a player that you have his anytime goal on. So it was a nice day out there on the ice. Let's move on to the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Chicago Blackhawks. Lots to break down in this one. Talking about Sidney Crosby, where he is, how outstanding he is. Everyone's giving the attention to Ovechkin right now, and rightly so. Ovi is a complete stud out there, but we can't forget about Sidney Crosby and all of his accomplishments. So we're going to break all of that down. First, let's get to the odds on the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Chicago Blackhawks. The Pittsburgh Penguins rolling in as a -134 favorite on the road. Chicago at +112. Total of 6.5. 6.5 at -134, or sorry, -124 to the under, and +102 to the over. I don't want to touch anything on Chicago. Chicago's coming off that game versus the Washington Capitals, in which, we saw Ovi tie Wayne Gretzky's record. They lost that one 5-3. They made a push. We saw either Teravainen or Bertuzzi get that goal. I can't remember which one it was that netted us that goal on Friday night, but I don't want to touch any Chicago props. This game is about the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is about padding those stats out there for the Penguins in this game. They're also very strong on the second night of back-to-back. It's an older team, so it's always surprising to see those older teams being stronger on the second night of a back-to-back than the first night. So last night they came off the win versus the Stars. Sidney Crosby got that Hattie, like we were talking. We look at their schedule. They've got a Chicago at home on Tuesday, the Devils, and then the Bruins, and then to end the season, the Capitals on the 17th, sitting 7th in the Metro. There needs to be an opportunity for some of these players to get additional goals, get additional points on the board. And I do think versus Chicago here, we're going to see it happen. And poor Chicago. But Chicago's always going to be remembered as the team that Ovi tied Wayne Gretzky's record. The Islanders probably will be known as the team where he breaks it as the puck is about to drop here between the Washington Capitals and the New York Islanders. But I do think it's a record-making day here for some of these players on the Pittsburgh Penguins as well. So let's jump right into it. Firstly, I'm going to look at the Penguins just to win this puck line. I'll lay the 1.5 on the puck line. The puck line for the Pittsburgh Penguins coming in at +176. So no movement in that line. I'm happy with that. They've won their last 8 as a favorite on the second night of a back-to-back. You look at the Penguins, this is their 18th second night of a back-to-back on the season. The first night of that back-to-back, they've gone 10-16-1. The second night of the on the season, they've gone 10-16-1 on the back-to-back situation. The first night, they've gone 4-10. And the second night, they've gone 6-6-1. So definitely the second night is where they are stronger. The puck is out there. On the ice, we've got Ovi out on the ice, you guys. Let's hope for Ovi to score in this first period here, either on regular strength or on the power play. So that's going to be out the corner of my eye. If all of a sudden I jump up and down, it's because Ovi has scored. But we're going to look at oh my God, I'm going to squirrel here. The Pittsburgh Penguins have covered the puck line in the last 4 versus Central. I think they come out strong. I think they dominate. I think they win this in a 5-2 style game. So let's look at Sid first. 2+ points for Sid. He got us a Hattie yesterday. 2+ points coming in at +182. 30 goals, 56 assists on the season for 86 points. Sid has every ability to get 90 points on the season, picking up 2 tonight. He's having one of the best seasons in NHL history for a player in their 37th at 37, right? Like, so he's really been stepping up for his age. He's having one of the best seasons out there with his 86 points. So the 6th most in a single season in league history for a player that's sitting 37 years old. Now, Sidney Crosby hitting the 30-goal plateau with 3 goals and 1 assist versus the Devils last night, became the 11th player in NHL history to have 13 or more 30-goal seasons. So he has really stepped up. There's only 6 other players that have had more 30-goal seasons than Sidney Crosby. So he is breaking records out there, you guys. Look for Sid for another strong game in this one. Now, when we look at Rust here, Rust for the anytime goal tonight is coming in at plus 155. He got us a goal last night, 28 goals and 30 assists for 58 points. 6 goals over his last 7 games as well. 6 goals and 3 assists. And he hit the 200 mark yesterday. So 200 goals as of yesterday with that goal versus the Dallas Stars. I do think he continues to roll out strong. Looking at him versus Chicago, these are great stats versus Chicago. 7 goals and 2 assists in 11 career games against Chicago. So in 11 games, 9 points, 7 of those being goals. On the road in Chicago, in the last 5 games, he has 5 points. That's coming 4 goals and 1 assist. So in Chicago, in the last 5, he's been able to put up 4 goals. I'll take him for the anytime goal. Erik Karlsson for the goal tonight, plus 460. Who doesn't love taking a defenseman for a goal out here? He's 1 goal shy. Just 1 goal shy of becoming the 24th defenseman in NHL history to reach the 100-goal mark. Give me Erik Karlsson for that goal on the Chicago Blackhawks. That's coming in at plus 460. On the season, he has 10 goals, 42 assists, and 52 points. He has a point in 4 of the last 6 against Chicago, 2 of those being goals, 4 of those being assists, and 17 points in 23 career games versus the Chicago Blackhawks, 2 goals and 17 assists. I do think Erik Karlsson can get a goal and become the 24th defenseman in NHL history to have 200 goals in his career. So let's go big on Erik Karlsson. Let's go big on Rust for sure. Kev, you didn't have to do that. Thank you so much for the tip today. That's sweet of you. Tyler, or Christopher, you're going to take Touch and Thompson at plus 114. It's what Chicago is known for. I'm not sure. What did I say? Chicago's known for something. Yeah, being against teams that are breaking history marks. So we've got 2 shots on goal for Washington currently, 17 minutes left in this first period. Let's see what Ovi has to bring for us for sure. The Montreal Canadiens are then in a battle with the Nashville Predators. Montreal needs to stay hot, and I do think they stay hot in this one. Money's actually coming in on Nashville. It was a pick 'em earlier. It's now minus 113, so not much money, minus 108 for the Montreal Canadiens, and that's where I'm going to go with Montreal to continue to play hot. They know their playoff hopes. They need to get these wins. They can't leave their fate in another team's hands, hoping the team loses if they take a loss. So looking at the total, 5.5 minus 138 to the over. We have Dobbs getting the start here for Montreal. And some of you might go, oh, we got the backup goaltender. But you look at Dobbs in his NHL debut, it was versus the Nashville Predators. He recorded a shutout, you guys. 29 save shots on goal. And I do think while the Preds now will have game film on him, know where his weaknesses come, I do think Montreal will give the support offensively as well as defensively here to Dobbs. We look at offensively, and we've seen Montreal score 3 or more goals in 8 of their last 10. They have been on fire. And Lane Hutson, you guys, yesterday we had him for a power play point. That didn't come in. He got a goal himself. So Lane Hutson definitely taking center stage for the Montreal Canadiens for their rookie player. But we've also got Paul Caulfield, Nick Suzuki playing so strong. Nick Suzuki has scored in the last 4 games out here for Montreal. And I do think both of them, Caulfield and Suzuki come to play in this one. I'm just going to ride the hot hand here with the Montreal Canadiens. They've won their last 4. They beat the Flyers yesterday 3-2. 5th in the Atlantic with 83 points in 76 games. We're looking at the Predators who've lost their last 5. That last loss was to the Dallas Stars on Thursday, 5-1. And they have the Isles on Tuesday. So second night of back-to-back here for Montreal. I'm not too worried about it. Just give me Montreal, you guys. That's where I'm going to go. Yeah, Chicago always allowing players to make history against them. So Erik Karlsson, plus 460 for that goal. Let's make history there. The Vegas Golden Knights versus the Vancouver Canucks is our last game on deck. Now, Vegas really crushed Calgary in overtime. They're trying to get that wild card spot. Vegas picked up the couple of points. Calgary got 1. Now they have to go to Vancouver to face a Vancouver Canucks team that is coming off a win in their last game. Too little, too late, though, but we'll look at the standings. Vancouver still not mathematically eliminated. They need a lot of help, just like Calgary, if they want to take that last wild card spot from the Minnesota Wild. They're a plus 130 underdog, and I do think here versus Vegas, Thomas Hertl still out of the lineup for Vegas, and minus 160. I can't bet the Vegas Golden Knights. We know who the stronger team is, right? Like just like versus Calgary last night. Vegas is the stronger team, but they haven't been that great out on the road this season. With Thomas Hertl out of the lineup, we do have the ability for Vancouver to make a push too little, too late as well. So the total of 5.5 minus 106 to the under. I'm going to play the number in this one, you guys. I'm going to take Vancouver for half a unit at home on that money line. And if Vegas does go up first, I'll come back in on Vancouver plus the 1.5, because I do think this is a 1-goal game that Vancouver has every opportunity of winning, as Vegas is off the overtime win last night and they have the Avs on deck on Tuesday. That is a big look ahead versus Colorado on Tuesday. They will face Vancouver back here on Wednesday the 16th to end the season. So I think this is, one of those games where Vegas, they got the win over Calgary last night. They are sitting first in the Pacific with 100 points, 76 games, 3 ahead of the LA Kings. So they pulled ahead of the LA Kings last night, but they're sitting with the same points. So I think this could be that letdown game off of moving 3 points ahead instead of just 1 point ahead of the LA Kings. So I'm going to take Vancouver. I'm going to play the number. I'll have more in this one later on in the day. That's just my first look at this game, because I'm not overly in love with it, because I don't trust Vancouver for one. Vegas is the stronger team. I just don't think their heads are going to be completely in this game tonight. And we saw those upsets. Look at all the upsets last night with the dogs getting the win. So it was crazy how many dogs were able to pull it off. So that is where I'm going to go with that game, you guys. Let's get into the recap here. And still no goals between the Washington Capitals and the New York Islanders. I just want to look. So 0-0, that total still 5.5. We have seen the Washington Capitals move to minus 148. A favorite. And looking at the live player props, we have dropped Ovi from a minus 120 odds to get a goal, now down to minus 110. So keep an eye on that. As soon as Ovi goes to a positive market here to get that goal, I will be jumping on it. Just dropped to minus 105. So keep your eyes on Ovi for that anytime goal at minus 105. You guys, I think it's a solid bet. I like it so much better than laying the extra 15 cents there. So minus 105, I think it's great. Ovi is off the bench right now, so jump on that minus 105 right now. Okay, we are going to do the recap. You guys know in this game versus the Washington Capitals versus the Islanders, I'm playing Ovi first period for the goal. And first period even strength goal at plus 600. First period power play goal at plus 1,500. Again, if that doesn't hit in the first period, I'll roll it into the second and the third. I won't take the empty netter because we saw Ovi in that press conference, and I just don't think it happens. You can look at the Islanders team total under 2.5. That was at plus 116 coming in. The Islanders only have 1 shot on goal, and we have 14 minutes left in the first. So they are going to be limited on their shots. Moving on to the games ahead of us, the Dallas Stars versus the Minnesota Wild. Give me the under 2.5 goals for the Minnesota Wild at -108. I also like the Dallas Stars first period puck line laying a half a goal at +158. The Columbus Blue Jackets versus the Ottawa Senators. Give me first period, both teams to score at +146 for that hot start. And then the Ottawa Senators -1.5 goals at +144. The Florida Panthers versus the Detroit Red Wings. I'm going to look at the Red Wings to get the win here versus Florida. I know Florida's a better team, but I think they'll get back on track after they get home from this road game. They have the Leafs on deck. So I do think they'll take another loss. Yes, that will be 5 in a row, but I think they'll lose 5 in a row. I'm going to take the Red Wings money line here and the under 5.5. The Boston Bruins and the Buffalo Sabres. I'm going to take first period over 1.5 at -136 for half a unit and both teams to score at +150. For the other half. I'm going to look for a big day out of Tage Thompson and Alex Tuch. Look for Tage Thompson for the goal at +135, 2+ goals at +1,000. Alex Tuch for his goal as well. You can combine the two of them for their points parlayed together. And if you just want to take Tage Thompson for 2+ points, I would do that before I took Tuch. Now, over 3.5 goals here for the Buffalo Sabres as well is getting us plus money at +106. On the other side for Boston, Pasta got the hat trick yesterday. I'd look at Pasta and Morgan Geekie again for their points parlayed. It cashed nicely for us yesterday. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Chicago Blackhawks. This is all about the Penguins for me. Give me the Penguins to win and cover the puck line, laying 1.5 goals at +176. They're strong on the second night of a back-to-back, so don't stress about that. They've also covered the puck line in the last 4 versus the Central. I'll be on Sid for 2+ points off of that 4-point game. The Hattie yesterday, 2+ points at +182. For Sidney Crosby, I do think he is just going to continue to shine to finish off this season. We're going to look at Rust for the anytime goal at +155. He got us a goal last night, now 28 goals on the season. He's 1 goal and 1 point away from a career high for goals and points. So I do think with 28 goals and 30 assists for 58 points, career high is 1 point away. So look for that goal tonight. Look for those points tonight to come raining in. Could we get 2 points out of him for him to hit 60 points? Absolutely. So he's been strong as well with his numbers versus Chicago. So look for a big day out of Rust. And then Erik Karlsson, I'm going to take him for the goal. Goal is coming in at +460. He has only 10 goals on the season. We look at him versus Chicago. Those goals have come in versus Chicago, and he's only 1 goal shy of becoming the 24th defenseman to reach 200 career goals. If he doesn't hit it today, you've got to look at him in the next game. Erik Karlsson should be making your prop bets over the next couple for him to get that goal if it doesn't happen today. I think it happens today versus Chicago. The Montreal Canadiens and the Nashville Predators. Give me Montreal to continue to roll hot. I'll look at Montreal probably first period as well. You can get the -112 in the first period, and then I would just look at them for the full game at -110 in case they get off to a little bit of a slow start. The Predators got shut out the last time they faced Dobbs in his NHL debut. They're going to have better looks on him in this game, but this team has lost their last 5. They're checked out. They're ready to hit a beach somewhere. Let them hit a beach somewhere today mentally. And for Montreal to continue to roll hot, to hold on to that wild card spot. And then Vegas versus Vancouver. Again, you guys, I just don't know the mindset of Vegas going into this one. They pulled away by 3 points on the LA Kings with the win in OT yesterday versus Calgary. And now Vancouver is basically they're 5th in the Pacific. I don't see them making that playoff push. They would need the Minnesota Wild and Calgary to fall flat for them because they are sitting there 83 points in 76 games. But I do think we could see Vancouver looking to finish off strong. We just saw the New York Islanders score first in this matchup. You guys, I'm going to give you the odds in this game, but looking at Vancouver, I think Vancouver is live at home at +132. Excuse me, my voice is going. That's how you know you have talked too much over the weekend when the voice starts to go. We are seeing the Capitals now at +128 here as road dogs. We have got that 1 goal. It looks like Bo Horvat did get the play is still going. I think, Bo Horvat got the goal. It looked like he was going to get the assist there at first on the play, but he had set things up across the board. So Let me just make sure it was Bo Horvat for that goal for the New York Islanders. But now, yeah, it was Bo Horvat for the goal. So now we're seeing the Capitals in that situation where they are the live dog at plus 130. If we're looking at live player props, Ovi is still minus 105 goal scorer. Now, Ovi hopefully will answer back. So you guys, all the best in all of your bets. Rob, I am glad that you cashed last night. It was a great night last night. Let's continue to roll hot. He's already had a shot on goal. Had a close shot on goal earlier this verse. Yeah, it's going to be great. I know Calgary probably will not make the playoffs. The Minnesota Wild need to fall flat. They need to take these losses. I just don't know. Calgary will need a heck of a lot of help. So you guys, all the best in all of your bets today. Those player props that I'm looking at, we've got Ovi circled today, but it is all about Sid for me. Sid, Rust, and Erik Karlsson, all for the Pittsburgh Penguins, are my favorite players to circle tonight, as well as Tage Thompson here for the Buffalo Sabres. So if you're looking for those players, if you're looking for anywhere to look at those points tonight, those would be the two games. Again, that is Tage Thompson and Alex Tuch for the Buffalo Sabres, but Tage being my favorite. And then it is Sidney Crosby, Rust, and Erik Karlsson for the Pittsburgh Penguins to be able to get those points and goals on the board. Again, Erik Karlsson, defenseman looking to hit 200 career goals, 1 goal shy. Rust looking to come out here and hit career high for goals. And we are seeing another goal out of the New York Islanders as they so came to play. Now, don't get worried here about the Washington Capitals, because how many times this season have we seen the Caps go down in the first? This makes me wonder, though, if Ovi just really does not want to score here, and he wants to score in his matchup at home versus Carolina in the next game, or if we're really going to see it pushed to over the next couple. But I tell you, I'm still looking at Ovi. I would look at the Capitals at plus 285 to get the comeback win as well. And yeah, Mo, I went over that. The Sidney Crosby, Rust, and Karlsson for the goal, Rust for the goal, and Sidney Crosby for 2+ points. Tage Thompson for 2+ points, Tage Thompson for the goal, and then 2+ goals for Tage at plus 1,000 are my favorite props of the day. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. Let's make some freaking money. Let's stay hot out there on the ice. Yesterday was fantastic. Let's continue to roll. Again, I appreciate you guys so freaking much for being here on the daily. Without you guys being here in the live chat, without all of you watching after and watching this recap, the show would not be here each and every day. So thank you to each and every single one of you. Let's make some freaking money. I will see you live on In-Game Live from 3 to 7. Yeah, 3 to 7 Eastern today. So have a good one, you guys, and good luck to each and every one of you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.